Tannegeeser,
Here.
Marks,
Here.
Richard,
Yeah.
King, Seaver,
Here.
Graves,
Here.
Shelby.
Here. Item number 2, petitions from the audience.
Recognize Jessica Long.
Hi, I'm Jessica Long. I'm the director at the rec center. I had a conversation with Pat last week, and so we thought it might be a good idea just for me to come here and kind of tell you all what we're doing out there, and then if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we're trying to do to allow more of the outdoor pool people to come to the rec center. Because the decision was made so late, we weren't able to, plan with a pool pass or a punch card or anything like that. So we tried to make adjustments as much as we could this late in the season. So one thing we have done is we've kind of lowered the age for them to go into the pool as long as the parent's in the building. So anyone 12 and over can go in the pool area when a lifeguard's on duty, as long as a parent's in the building. So that helps a little bit. One thing that we can't get into that the outdoor pool does is kind of a drop off, and they drop the kids off and go, and we just can't do that. Our pool isn't big enough. We don't have enough guards, and so we have to kind of watch that. But that has allowed a few more kids to come in because while their parents are working out, they can swim, that sort of thing. The other thing that we did, where in the past we didn't have this many hours, but we have extended our family swim time to 7 days a week. So they're able to come in every day and swim through the week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, it's 12 to 5. And then Wednesday and Friday, it's 12 to 7. So it allows some evening time. And then Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 5. So they do have more accessibility to the pool, which is a good thing. The other thing that we've done, especially with people that we're seeing coming in, it's $4 a pass, or $4 a time to come swim. But what we're trying to encourage some of them to do, especially families, big families, a mom with 3 kids or mom and dad with 3 or 4 kids, one family member, one adult can sign up for a pool pass for a month for $21. And then all of those, the spouse, the kids, they're all just $8 a month. So if they're gonna come more than, 2 times or more, it pays for itself. So we've really been kind of encouraging, since they're not locked into a contract, they can do 1 month at a time. We're encouraging, go ahead and sign up for a membership, then you can swim unlimited, and that's helped them to save some money. So we have had some of the pool parties that the outdoor pool gets, like the Boys and Girls Club with their trail grant. We are able to help them, and we were able to work something out where they could come in and do a pool party. They weren't by themselves, but they were at a time when it wasn't very busy, so they pretty much had it to themselves. So we're trying to accommodate everybody. Next year, depending on what's decided for the pool, if the outdoor pool isn't open, we'll try to make some decisions through our board about March or April as far as maybe a punch card where the whole family can maybe use punches if they don't necessarily want to sign up. But something to keep in mind, if they want to pay for a membership from May to August, you're looking at, for $63 is all it would cost for the adult, and then $24 for each kid for the whole summer. So it's affordable. I know that was a concern that we had, is the indoor pool is more expensive than the outdoor pool, and these kids aren't, but it is affordable, and we're trying to help them as best as we can to allow them a place to come. So we've increased our guards. In the past, there's maybe been 1 or 2 at the most. We now have 3 on duty. So we're trying to, be prepared for the bigger number. So we're doing everything that we can, given the situation. So do you all have any questions about?
If there's a kiddo in the family that's a little bit older, like 16, would they have to then have a parent?
No, 16 and over can go in any time and swim. They don't even there doesn't even have to be a lifeguard on duty.
Okay.
So 16 and over can swim at any time. 15 and under, there has to be a lifeguard on duty. 12 to 15, as long as parents in the building. Anyone under 12, parent has to be in the pool area with them to kind of keep an eye. And then if they're 5 and under, parent has to be in the water, because just to kind of help keep an eye on them. So.
Have you noticed any increase?
Yeah, we've got a lot of people in the pool.
Yeah.
We really do. So, and that's good. It creates other issues in the bathroom and maintenance and supplies and things like that. But so far, we've been able to manage it fairly well. So
is 12, when I think about 12, is that like, so when you start junior high?
yeah. So my niece is 11 and she'll start 6th grade. So yeah, I would say that's about 7th grade probably on
So,
average.
kind of generalizing, you're saying if you're grade school age, if you're in grade school, then you have to have a parent with you in the pool?
In the pool area, not in the water, but
Not
in
in
the
the
pool
water.
area.
Okay,
Yes,
just in the
area.
pool area.
Yes,
Okay.
in the pool area. Just, yeah, just to be there in case something happens, we can, mom's right there and, because, the other day we had someone throw up and then we had, mom was right there, so we were able to get the child to the mom and then we could get it cleaned up and shut down the pool, and so kids have to go to parents while we clean up, and so it's just better if they're young that someone's in there with them.
Well, and they don't pay just to watch.
They don't have to pay to watch, only if they swim. Yeah, so they're only paying for the kids, or unless they're getting in the water as well. So,
So you have a lot of outside people that aren't members of the rec center doing this?
yes, we do have outside, I would say not as many because we have gotten those kids that have just been dropped off and we're like, you gotta tell grandma she's gotta stay, type situation. But I just don't feel like we can handle that much. So I don't see us ever opening up completely that way, but I do feel like we can make it even a little more affordable for them next year if we do the punch pass and maybe discount that a little bit. So again, we can talk with you all and then our board, it can be passed through our board and we can figure out a way. Everybody wins.
I think that's great, and I appreciate you doing that. And, maybe we would want to look at maybe putting some signage at the outdoor pool promoting this. I'm sure Terry will put it in the paper, but just to get the word out there.
Yeah, there's a place to go.
I don't know if you saw today on Facebook, there's an article about the boy that qualified for the Special Olympics. He's going to Orlando, Florida.
Oh, mm-hmm.
That boy was at the pool all the time, probably every day of the summer yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of his success was opportunity.
He was at the outdoor pool.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of sunburns
Yeah.
with that red hair, but yeah.
Well, and I know they miss it. I mean, I know,
They do.
yeah, that they miss it, but I feel like that we have a great facility for
We do.
the ones that can come to use, and especially on a day like today when it's raining and they're able to get in there and still swim and have a good time, so.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Appreciate the rec center coming to the forefront with us and helping.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3, discuss possibly approve minutes of the May 24th, 2021 regular meeting.
So moved?
Second. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
I've been requested, Dennis has get ready for a meeting, or for a tournament tomorrow, to skip down to item 9, golf course report. Dennis Bowman.
Good evening, and I appreciate that. I've got over 80 kids coming in tomorrow morning from all over 3 states to play our PGA Junior Tournament. So it's going to be, I've got about 2 more hours of work to do as soon as I get back out there. So hopefully this rain.
Pray that the rain holds off. huh?
Exactly. I'm going to pass some papers out here for you. I really may have to have some.
Oh my, I didn't do
Yeah.
that.
You're not gonna probably have to read it that. I didn't realize you're gonna print it that small. You may have to have some
Magnified.
magnifying glass.
I'm glad I brought these.
Well, we appreciate you saving the ink.
Yeah. we did a lot of it.
Is it any different than the one we have attached?
What's that mean? That one I think was from like last time.
No.
Is it the very same?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, okay.
It's a little bit bigger.
But anyway, that one piece of paper is our sod, the sod issue at the golf course, and we're not, we've had some winter kill out there. We're not near as bad as a lot of golf courses. It's probably gonna be somewhere around the 30 pallets of sod, which is, about a semi-load and a half, which is not too bad. A lot of golf courses are doing 3, 5, 7 acres of sod in the Tulsa area. So it's a lot of work for us because it's a small amount. We have to use our crew. So Bill and I has been going to get sod. We used his truck, trailer, mine, and we're shuttling sod back and forth on the days we can sod. So we're patching our spots. The golf course is in real good shape, except for where we had Bermuda winter kill. So, but I'm fortunate. We come out a lot better than Claremore, Langley, any area golf course, you name it. I think we're still in better shape than they are as far as how much Bermuda grass was lost. So we've made this little flyer up. Bill started it, and he went around to some of the people, and we've gotten, I don't know, what we've about 9, 10, 11 pallets of sod
11
already
pallets.
donated.
Donated so far.
Yeah, so we've had
How
some,
many are you looking for total?
about 30.
30?
Yeah. So, know of anybody, be glad to, you have your checkbook, we'll take it right now, So, but yeah, anybody can do, if you know of anybody can help us, that's great, so we're just trying to get done the best way we can, and,
Does Southern Hills seriously have any sod that they could donate? They've done that over the years, I think.
yeah, no, they've, last sod we actually went and got was from Owasso, so did get some from them at Bailey Ranch, their municipal golf course. They're redoing that whole thing. But, yeah, Southern Hills, they're all grassed in. They don't have any extra that I know of right now, so. But, my little revenue sheet is pretty small, but tell you in a nutshell, things are really good as far as our membership sales. Apologize for that being so small, but, this is through April. We had 145 members, and I think up to pretty close, I don't have a total on them, but we're at somewhere right around 180, 185. Sold another one today to a lady, so it's great. So it's been a big boost. We've done good. We was projecting 40 to 50 conversions of silver memberships. And I know we're probably up in the mid 50 range, 55 or something like that, silver members converted. So that was more than I anticipated, and we're still not done. So like I said, the lady I sold today, she had a silver membership. So we're really doing good there. Just for an example, last year we did 297,000. I'm projecting 460,000 this year, a 55% increase. That's huge, Who would ever thought we did 55% increase? But we've done a lot of, the right things. We laid the groundwork with our equipment, our people. So our product is really good. I even got testimonials. I got people. It's crazy. Everybody, the amount of compliments we're getting.
Hey guys. Hey guys, you really gotta come out here to Pryor. Some of the best greens.
I saw that.
Right. There's tons of those, right? Just, that's great compliments when people drive from Tulsa over here to Pryor and really are able to enjoy our golf course. And just like this junior tournament, we got people from 3-state area, Arkansas, Oklahoma, southern half of Kansas, but, they've drove in using hotel money, because they come out early today, played, practice rounds, and, most of them spent about $50 just doing that. So that's just one person, so it's really been good, and word spreads amongst the golf community. Hey, if you got good greens and you got bad greens, man, they know where they're going. So, a lot of good stuff there. Any questions over any of that? I'm kind of going a little fast. I'm in a hurry, so I got work I got to go do. But
Have we increased any of the corporate memberships yet?
I think so. We've got 1, 2. Bootsy paid theirs, so I do have one that I'm working on. Haven't got them yet, but there's a good possibility. It's one of the new car dealerships.
Okay. I see GRDA, but had they been
Yeah,
corporate?
GRDA is a new one we got.
That's a new one?
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
new one we got. Yeah, we got
Okay.
GRDA. So. Of course, I want to continually push to, get our golf course to where it needs to be. We need cart pass. With maybe, have y'all heard, I'm sure, about canoe coming in, 2,000 jobs, those kind of things happening out in that industrial park. We need to have our golf course where it makes people want to move into Pryor. That's my opinion. They need to say, hey, you got nice parks. That's a whole park system, not just a golf course, but the whole park system needs to be nice. We got nice schools, you know, they're putting a lot of money in our schools, can't hardly beat our schools. But, you know, the whole park system needs to be nice, but we need cart pass, we need a clubhouse, you know, we need a maintenance building, need some restrooms, need a cart building. You know, we got a whole list of stuff, but if we can do it, it's like Bailey Ranch over in Owasso, they shut their golf course down to spend several millions of dollars to make that place nice, because they understand the value that that golf course is gonna bring to that city. And I'm just gonna keep pushing y'all to push whoever you can push, so that we can get to that level. If we can get those things accomplished, it'd be a real game changer for us. But just the little stuff we've done, you know, has made a huge difference, right? You know, I've got the equipment, we got some people, so we can actually get the work done and produce a pretty good product, but we still need a lot of capital improvements. So,
Let me throw out this, and you can be thinking about it, you don't have to even answer it all tonight. Because I have played at some golf courses where they don't they have some cart paths, but they end very shortly, and then there's just grass.
right.
Is that something that we've ever thought about? Because it seems like we have problems with cart paths falling apart all the time, all the time. So I thought about that, thought, well, maybe, you know, grass.
That's the way it used to be, but see, you can't do that when it's wet. You can't, those golf courses will not let carts out when it's wet. When it's wet, you can't, you know, you can't just go through the wet water and mud, you're just gonna tear it up. So there are some golf courses like that. Southern Hills is one of them. They took a lot of cart paths out because if you're gonna take a cart, it's gonna be dry, or you're taking a caddy. We don't have caddies, people aren't gonna pay for them out there. So you need cart paths, but the only reason why ours is so bad is they're so old. It's been, I don't know, what, 25 years since they've been repaved? You can imagine a city street, if it's been 25 years since it's been repaved, what it's gonna look like, so. You know, they're just so old, but,
Old Lucy Bell was mayor when we put them in.
yes, yeah,
That's been quite a while back.
so. Our next event we have coming up is our night tournament, the Lions Club Night Tournament. They're gonna raise a nice little chunk of money. I'm so glad to do that for them. We've already closed that tournament out. We've filled it up. You know, if somebody wants to play in it, they're just on a waiting list, probably won't get in anyway, unless somebody drops out. But all the teams are already paid up and filled up, so those are the kind of things that's happening, and they're gonna raise a lot of good money. And one of them told me they're looking for members. Anybody needs another board to be on? Their Lions Club is sure looking for members, so I'll try to help them pass that on. That's all I have. Anybody?
We moved, moving the pavilion up.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna tell you, yeah. We had a good idea to move our little senior pavilion up, and I talked to the seniors about it. They were all good with that, up by the clubhouse where it can actually be utilized more, right outside the clubhouse. So, we talked to a guy, he, has a big company that builds those metal buildings. He said, hey, I'll move it up here for you. So he moved it up, he's in the process of moving up here for us. He poured the piers, he knows more about them buildings than anybody, but it's just that metal pavilion, just a cover. So he's moving it up there. That way people can sit outside, during nice weather, you know, get their food and drinks easy. They're not way down there away from food and drinks, because there's no way to take food and drinks down there to them. So it's just gonna be a lot better to have that pavilion sitting up there. So we're trying to do all that out with zero cost. Everybody just donating stuff. The seniors gonna help maybe, get the flooring in it, so we'll have a nice level floor.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pour concrete for that, but
Yeah.
concrete out there at some point in time.
Any questions? Anybody? Come out and see me, help promote the golf course, right? Know anybody needs anything about the golf course, send them our way. I appreciate y'all getting me out of here early, so I can go back and finish working.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Item number 5, discussion regarding the Pryor Youth Baseball. Chad, I'm sorry I had to postpone you there for a little bit.
Thank you, guys. So my name is Chad Wolf. I'm the president of BYBO. We just wanted to come here tonight to start a dialogue with ourselves and you guys. Kind of open transparency, let you guys know kind of what we did this season. Kind of give you some ideas that we've got and a future direction, you know, of our organization. and some things that we need help from. So I'll start with our signups and our rec league. So we had 185 kids sign up this season, which was up about 97 kids from the season before, which was a COVID year. Those numbers are still extremely low for Pryor. You know, we've got some paperwork upstairs that some of it's back from the 98 season, some of it's 2004 season. We're about 200 kids down from a normal season and capacity of our league and what it used to be. We had 17 teams out of our Pryor league this year. We have received phone calls. We joined with Claremore this year to kind of give everybody more teams to play. It was a disaster. Rain out games. Out of a five-day week, we would only play 2 nights a week. If it rained at all in Claremore, they canceled games. They couldn't upkeep their fields. So we made a decision middle of the year to pull back during the rain season to give our teams an opportunity to play games. We had 2 rainouts. One of those nights was a water leak, flooded out one of our fields. We had to shut the water off so we couldn't play. Our rec league sign-up fees generated $11,500 this year. And again, that's 200 people lower than we think we can get to. We're also going to raise league fees this next year. So in Pryor, we charge $80, and for siblings, we only charge an additional $20. So we are $45 cheaper than the next closest size town population that we charge for our signups. So we're gonna up those. We've done a lot of field work. We've done a lot of things to those fields. You know, that costs money, so we are gonna up our league fees. We think we can really get close to doubling that sign-up number next year. Tournaments this year. We hosted 3 successful tournaments this season that were actually PYBO affiliated tournaments. We had 144 teams that showed up to play in these 3 tournaments from 57 different towns in 3 different states. Our preseason tournament that we had, we made after paying umpires, after paying our workers, after concession fees, all that stuff, we made a profit of a little over $10,000. We also turned away 14 teams that weekend because of our lack of field space. The Chuck Kenyon Memorial Tournament, we made a profit of $13,000. We also turned away 24 teams that weekend. Frank Air Memorial Tournament, again, we made a $10,000 profit, and we also turned away an additional 14 teams that weekend as well. I helped host one USSSA hosted event this year that's been going on for 9 years. It's a Mother's Day tournament. We filled that tournament with 54 teams, which is our complete max capacity on our 5 fields. That tournament made a little over $17,000 profit, and it was the highest caliber teams tournament at the state of Oklahoma. It was a AAA and major tournament. A lot of recognition. We hosted a total of 488 games from April 9th to June 11th of this season. We only had 2 rainouts, as we talked about, all season long. Community benefits, we filled up 2 hotel rooms in the 3 weekends that we hosted these 3 tournaments. We spoke to workers and 2 of the owners at Joe's, Sinclair's, and Hook's convenience stores that talked about surging business during these weekends we were operating. Talked to Goldie's, Charlie's Chicken, JL's, Las Fuentes, and Thomas's as well, and they all noticed tremendous foot traffic boom. Operation costs this year, we spent about $37,000 to get the fields ready to play. So our fencing out there is in horrible shape. It's rusted, it's rotted, it's terrible fencing. So we did our best cosmetically to hide some of the issues we had. We spent $12,750 on some windscreen and fence capping to hide that. Really looks good out there. We had a lot of compliments on it. One thing that we're getting backlash on is something we didn't foresee. We covered up all lawn chair areas. That's a big part of our playing out there for league nights for the cosmetics. And, you know, which We've just explained what we did, everybody's okay with it, it's just not ideal, because now everybody's gotta stand along the fence line. But again, cosmetics to bring these, this money in, we need to look nice. We spent almost $5,500 on dirt, sand, gravel, chalk, and turfus. So this is the first year I can think of, and I grew up here and played there my whole life. We added a sand base underneath all of our dirt. We dug all of it up, cut it out, added sand. So the sand base on the baseball field is the reason we were able to play while it rained all day. That sand soaked up underneath all of that. That is a project that has to happen every year if we want to maintain and we want to have a good playing infield. We have to do that every year. We spent about $1,000 in equipment rental, pest and weed control, a little over $2,000. We bought a golf cart and a water tank because we did not have any running water to water fields. We spent $5,000 on that. Just rec games only this year, we spent $8,965 in umpire fees. We spent $2,000 in concession startup money to get our concession stand stocked, for a total of that $37,115. To operate these fields the right way each year cost us $16,000 to do it right. That's spraying, that's dirt work, that's mowing, that's everything. $16,000 to maintain the fields. And if you look at our opening item A, we only made $11,500 in our sign-up fees. So around Pryor, one of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to fix our identity and our reputation. Our reputation here in Pryor is not very good in the baseball and softball world. And so when you go to Tulsa, over there, teams, we've let it spiral so far down that teams do not want to come play. We made it our mission this year to fix the playing surface, our infields. Our infields are just as nice as anywhere you can go to play. So that's a big thing. So we, the projects we completed this year, sorry guys, I'm not a very good public speaker.
You're doing fine, you're doing excellent.
So item F, completed projects that we did, and again, I got voted on, late January to be the president. So we began in 1 month time, we had 1 month to flip these fields and get ready from the time I took over. So in that month's time, we replaced part of the fencing on field 3. The fencing was so old and rotted out that at the bottom of the fence, from the ground to the bottom of the fence, was a gap like this in our playing surface. We replaced that. We cut out all the bases on the fields like we talked about, and we added our sand base and clay mix on top, and we periodically added turfus every week to get a good mixture to prepare for rain. We sprayed the fields and complex with pre-emergent Roundup, and that's everywhere. And we did that 3 times, I believe, and didn't even get close to touching it. We brought in gravel to fix our walkways. We have a lot of grass that just looked horrible out there, it grew out of control. It was tough for everybody to keep up with, so we tried to remove any grass inside our complex that wasn't needed. We got about halfway there, and we'll finish that project this off season. We talked about the windscreen and the fence capping that we put on. So that windscreen and fence capping, when we bought it, they guarantee it for about 5 years and 7 years on the fence capping. So that's something about every 5 years or so, we're gonna have to spend $12,750 to continue to do that, or, we'll get into later, talk about some pricing on some new, actual baseball grade level fencing. So the projects that we absolutely have to do and projects we're gonna start on this off season. So all 4 fields need dressed and leveled. So top dressing the baseball fields is what helps with the rain and what helps keep everything sloping and getting off the playing surface. We've received 1 bid for that. For all 4 fields, to start from scratch would cost us $30,000. We believe we can get our 4 fields leveled for around 10 to 15 when we continue searching for these people. We need to add water spigots to field 1, 2, and field 4. Right now, there's one spigot in that entire baseball complex, and it belongs to the city that we use. So field 3 is our best field. The dirt is perfect because we water it every day and we rake it every day. Fields 1, 2, and field 4 are in horrible shape. We would spend 4 hours every single day getting the fields playable on those 3 fields to break up the hard dirt, rake it, and get it back to playing shape. We also need to add a sprinkler system to these 4 fields. We have not priced those. And what we've looked up, it varies big time. And so until we get somebody out there, that item, we have no clue yet. But the sprinkler system's a big deal. With this much foot traffic being played on our fields, our grass is dying. We have no water out there with the heat, the foot traffic. Our infield went from looking really nice the first 2 months of the season. I'm talking top grade, nice infield, to pretty run down looking and patchy and bare. Backstop on field 3 has to be replaced. That will be our first item that we touch. It was built with plastic residential chain link fence for a baseball backstop on a kid pitch baseball field. We have to replace that. It is so bowed. The backstop starts here and bows this bad. We need new aluminum bleachers on field 1 and 2. The wooden bleachers that are out there right now, and this is a guess, but like I said, I've grown up here and I've played baseball there from the time I was 4 to 14, and those are the same fields. I'm 31 now. Those are the same wooden bleachers we've had out there since I was 4. They're rotted out and they're in terrible shape. We actually had a lady, and it wasn't an issue because she was on the lowest one. We had a lady sit down on one and it busted and snapped. But luckily she only fell this far. But it could have been a whole different issue had she been sitting on the top row. Need to replace the old rusted tin bleacher canopies that we've had on field 1 and 2. You know, we're talking about cosmetics and popping the eye when people walk into our complex. It's one of the first things they see, and it's not a good look, you know, if we're talking about popping the eye and, you know, that appeal. And also, you know, our field 3 and field 4 have that tarp and canopy system already set up, so it would just look nice if our whole complex was matched as they walk through. Batting cages, you know, we need new batting cages out there. I don't know who did it and when it happened, but the batting cages were, you know, that's always been a part of those fields. Somebody went in and took the netting down, switched the netting around, and tore them all up in the process. So now we have 4 cages that we can hit in, but they're only about 10 feet long, and nobody can swing a bat full speed because the bat catches on the backswing. So we have to give these kids that are playing there an opportunity to work and practice, and that batting cage is a big part of, you know, learning how to play baseball. The new dugouts we just added on there for you guys to see, and that is nothing that has to happen. They're actually in pretty good shape, and we'll get into why we put that on there here in about another page or so. But those new dugouts cost almost $7,500 a pop. I mean, they're not cheap, and none of this stuff. We're learning that with the word baseball in front of everything, they just get to jack everything up about 15%. So. And then we need, in our concession stand, you know, if we're gonna start, and our goal is to continue to produce tournaments, to start generating, you know, money, and we'll get into some of those numbers in a little bit. We need to do a little upgrade at our concession. We need to create a better boardroom, and we need to create an office space for us to be able to put in schedules, put in tournament schedules, send that out, so we don't have to, I handwrite everything. And I'm telling you, these tournaments, I've spent 3 days writing out brackets and text messaging brackets to everybody. So we want to do an upgrade. We want to create an office up there to make it a little easier on all of us. Sorry. So one of our big, you know, down the road future plans that we want to do is, you know, softball is struggling across the creek from where we're at. And it's been in a downhill trend for the last several years as well. What we want to do, and we've talked to the administration in softball, we would like to take over softball and baseball on our end. And that's something we'll meet with they just switched hands on presidents, and we're gonna talk to the new one. But our big goal is we want to turn that whole thing into what we did here this year. These tournaments were just a small sample size. You know, softball and baseball are two of the easiest ways to generate money. And softball is a whole different animal than baseball. You know, softball teams are there from morning time to nighttime. They play a whole different schedule. It's set up differently. So we want, after what we saw this year with these baseball tournaments and how easy, wasn't easy, but it was easy at the same time. That makes sense. We were there from Friday morning to Sunday night. But for us, you know, what we're trying to do, you know, that's easy for us to put that time in to continue to host these tournaments for that type of money we can make. So we want to figure out a way to tie baseball and softball into one organization. You know, it's all right there anyway. Both parties the last 10 years have struggled with the same problems, the same thing. Both have been ticking down. I think if we all could get on the same page with that, it would make life easier for both sides. And so that's gonna be a big thing for us. So the main thing we wanted to start this dialogue for is we wanted to throw some numbers out to you guys and let you guys sit and think on some things and how, you know, big scheme, big picture thing could work. So you'll see these renovation costs, and I know you guys probably looked at them and it scared you and you don't want to look at them again. These numbers are what it would cost to turn those facilities we have into state-of-the-art, putting Pryor on the map for youth baseball and youth softball. You know, I've coached, I've played my whole life. I've coached the last 12 years competitive baseball, and I've been all over the place. I've seen these facilities, and I've seen some of these facilities that make multi-millions of dollars a year. Springdale, you know, an hour and a half from us. It's one of the nicest facilities, and it's probably in our area the place that everybody goes to play. They make about $570,000 a year, and they have 4 fields. So these fields in Springdale are all the same size fields. It's one quad. They have a turf infield, and they play year-round from February to November. And they fill up 4 fields every weekend, and so on it goes. So all of these numbers here is what it would cost to get I think there's 11 fields out there, 10 with the high school field that we now have access to. It's 10 fields that we could get to tip-top shape, you know, and then we talk about a lot of open area we have out there, and it's been something that, you know, would cost some additional money to find out. We've already talked once to Mr. Lees about that, is, you know, we've got room in between our fields and the creek on the baseball side to add additional fields. So we talked about, I threw those numbers out on teams that we turned away just to show you guys, because the very back page that we'll get to is what we could have made on that top section that weekend of profit had we not turned those teams away and got to where we could get to with 3 additional fields being built. You know, these numbers, you know, the fencing at $20,000 for the church league fields, and the backstops $20,000, dugouts $30,000. Those numbers are big. Those numbers are scary and crazy, and you know that would put those fields, all 10 fields out there at that facility would be state of the art. They would be turfed infield fields for that price. And how quick would we make some money if we're able to have 10 field tournaments versus 4 tournaments? And with these type of fields and these turf fields that Springdale is able to do, playing year round, that changes your whole. So that's 42 weekends. 42 weekends is when baseball and softball for USSSA, that's the time frame that we have. So 42 weekends. If we had state-of-the-art facilities, we had this set up, and we had a facility with an 11-field facility with turf fields. We were on the map. We were advertising tournaments with Pryor, come to the turf fields, blah, blah, blah. 10 of those 42 weekends What's 10 times $50,000? See what I'm saying? It is scary. It's a crazy big scary number. But that big scary number, that $1.6 million to flip every bit of that land out there to a state-of-the-art facility comes back pretty quick to the city of Pryor. So this, like I said, all of this, we just wanted to start the dialogue. You know, there's several options, but for us, we don't have options. We don't have time to sit and talk everything out because we've got to keep going. We've got a whole off season this year that we've got things that we've got to do, and we've got $60,000 of our own to play with. You know, we're not even going to scratch the surface on getting them ready by next season, and we understand that. We're going to go to businesses this year. The previous administrations let our 501c number lapse, so we've been fighting with that for the last 4 months. And what'd he say? So our treasurer says he thinks we'll have that in the next 2 months, and as soon as we've got that, we're going to start advertising the businesses here in town. We're going to do some banner sales for the baseball side. We're going to try to generate this money to try to flip, because the foot traffic we had through those fields this year, everybody that came to our first tournament, 90% of them came back for our second, 80% came back to our third. It was just, we ran them right, we got all positive feedback, and it's just, Pryor's in a perfect location. We're right in between 169, I-44, and Highway 412. They all cross through Pryor within 20 minutes of Pryor to go play at any USSSA baseball facility. At one point, they're within 20 minutes of driving to Pryor to get there. Let's take that business. All these teams driving from Northwest Arkansas, Southwest Missouri, Southern Kansas. We can bring them right here, and we proved a little bit of that this year. And that was us being non-sanctioned. So you add U-Trip, you get sanctioned U-Trip, and that's when tournaments start really blowing up. But we don't have the facilities to even reach out to U-Trip right now. Sorry. So that's all I had. I know I was all over the place. I apologize, but I just wanted to send you this back, and I just wanted to kind of get that bug in your guys' ear, get you guys kind of thinking about some things, because you know, for us, and the numbers we're seeing, and the talks we're having, and the people we've been talking to, you know, it's trending in the right direction. We're moving forward. We're moving in the right direction. For us, the things that kind of hold us back are, you know, one thing was trash. You know, we can't do what we need to do on certain situations that came up this year because we do not own the land. It's city fields, city property. We can't do things. So trash, you know, we had a big debacle with trash, and it happened to us twice. We had a tournament one weekend. We called the recycling people, asked if they could bring us another dumpster for the weekend. They wouldn't approve it. We had to go through city. So we asked them if they could come and dump. Our dumpster was halfway full. We asked if they could come and dump the half full dumpster. We paid them $40. They were gonna come and dump it, never dumped it. So by Friday night, and we only had 20% capacity there Friday playing games. Friday night, our dumpster was full. We had all day Saturday and all day Sunday with just overflowed trash. And you know, we tried everything we could. We called 6 different trash companies, and nobody was allowed to drop any more dumpsters because it was city property. We had a leak that happened. We tried to get answers from MUB. We tried to get answers from anybody that was associated, previous PYBO boards. Had a leak that happened, and we were told, had no clue, about to play games, trying to get fields ready. Water leak that explodes, and that's on us. So when we asked for help, we're trying to play games, nobody cared. We canceled our games, and we're told, figure it out. And so the dynamic for me, and I've talked to Frank several times, you know, we're actually on the same page and have worked together most of this season. I just don't understand where the disconnect on all that happened, because some of the things, you know, it really ties our hands. It makes it hard for us to show up every day and do what we're doing. Just the water itself, that is a huge, you guys really have no idea what type of stress and pressure that put on us to show up 100 degrees outside all day. I go into work at 5:30, get off at 2, go to the ball fields, and I have a rock hard T-ball field that I've got to bust up so T-ballers aren't sliding. I mean, just, you know, I'm very passionate. I loved every minute of being up there, those kids, and seeing them get to play on a nice facility, a nice field was nice. I'm telling you, we need some help. We need upgrades. We need, you know, access to equipment, you know, instead of renting equipment, just little things like that. I know, I keep talking about the dialogue. You know, I went to a city council meeting, was that last week, to just kind of sit and listen. You know, we had fire department coming in and, you know, giving a report, police department giving their report. You know, Dennis is here giving his golf course report. You know, why don't we do reports from softball or youth baseball? I mean, you know, we want to feel like, you know, when we ask for help, we want to feel like we're going to get it. We're doing the same. We feel like we're giving the same services, which it's not the same. We all know that. But we are providing a service too to this community. You know, we just want to feel like we're backed up a little bit if we get in a bind. And that was kind of a big deal for us this year. A lot of our frustrations, we just felt like we were out on an island by ourselves. And so that was tough. And it put us in a bind several times. Like I said, we just wanted to, you know, show up and meet you guys, introduce ourselves, and kind of get that started, so.
Hey Chad, a couple of questions on.
Yes, sir.
What would you say you netted this year, revenues over expenses? How much did you end up,
Our net,
money
So-
in the bank?
our money in the bank right now, what did we say, 44,000, a little over 44,000 in the bank right now.
And
So
what'd
you
you
guys
start
out there doing it yourself, making it all happen, doing the whole organization, you cleared $44,000
Yes.
off of a Little League baseball.
Yep, absolutely, and,
How many kids do you think ran through that when you add, can you run a quick number in your head of how many kids, based on tournaments? You said you had a couple hundred kids that were signed up with the city,
yep,
and then you had, what, 3 tournaments?
yes. So just on the tournaments, if you go just a standard 10 kids on a team, you know, just those 3 tournaments we had 1,440 kids, plus our 185 Pryor kids that were playing all
So you
year.
had 1,400, 1,500 kids. And you basically did it on your own. There was not a lot of help. You didn't get a lot of assistance from people other than in the program.
Right, yes.
That were trying to,
In which we understand, when we're saying that, we understand, we know what we signed up for, and we know it's volunteer, and we're fine with that. We just feel like there's this big pie out there, and we feel like Pryor as a whole is missing a piece of that pie from what we were able to do this year. And I mean, and just like you're talking about, just the kids playing, those are just players. I mean, there were times where you walked through our opening gate, there was times that we needed to get to the high school field concession stand, and it took us to get from our concession stand over there, it might take us 25 minutes to do a little walk, just to walk through the amount of people that were there. I mean, it was unreal. Our Chuck Kenyon and Frank Air tournaments, I mean, the foot traffic through there, it was unreal.
You get lots of parents and grandparents and.
And siblings and you know,
Well, Chad, you know, what you just told me, what you just presented to us, falls right into what some of us have been thinking about. If you add the soccer fields in with that, maybe a couple skateboard parks
Yep.
in one big facility that was state-of-the-art, the whole thing, baseball, softball, soccer, everything, that's what we need.
Right.
And that would bring a lot of money into this community.
absolutely, yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, and that's what, you know, we're kind of in limbo, because we've all heard the rumors, you know, everybody's here for a long time has wanted a new complex, and we know that. The logistics, will it happen? For us, we feel like we're just in limbo. Do we fight fixing this? Are we gonna get a sports complex in the next year or two? Because for me, I guess my biggest frustration is I feel like when we go out there, you know, we're asked to provide this service to these youth and these kids, And a lot of times we're out there, we feel like we're only getting provided with half of what we need to provide this full service. And so that's where our frustration, but for us, baseball's gonna be here next season, you know, so we've gotta prepare for that. How serious do we get on sinking the money that we're generating from these tournaments into putting back into that facility that we're at? Or if we're going to, do we just build a bankroll for our new complex coming in 2, 3, 4, 5 years? We're in limbo. We just need to know what direction we need to move, because some of these things, some of that items of things to do still have to be done to keep playing baseball out there. And so that's where we're at is, you know, we're prepared to go whatever direction. We just think, we just wanna join up. We just wanna team up with the city to do this. I think
I'm
it
glad
would
you,
really-
I'm glad you came forward and told, because there were years ago, they sort of, mom and pop Little League wanted to, they wanted us to stay out of it. They
Yeah.
wanted to do the whole
See,
thing themselves.
And that's what I don't, and I've talked to Melinda several times over
Yeah.
there. She's still, we're making her do the concessions still. But I just don't understand the disconnect, and talking to Frank, that's how it was been. And for us, we would never tell Frank and his crew not to mow our fields. That's absurd. I don't know why anybody would say that. It's less work for us. And for us, that happened at some point, the disconnect.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanna fix, and just figure out what direction we need to go,
Well,
and how we need to.
Times change, your needs change, and now we need to change and make things happen. is
Yes,
what we need-
absolutely.
What we need to do.
But we
And,
can't wait too long, cause I
I
said,
mean, it
baseball's
falls-
hot right now,
Yes,
so we
well-
can't just.
Well, and, you know, it's a pride thing. Like I said, I grew up here. I've lived in Pryor my whole life, and, you know, I played there, and I know what it used to be, and I know how those fields used to look, and how much people were tied into youth sports. You know, both sides of the creek, and if any of you had kids or were associated, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when you drove down there in springtime, both sides of that complex were full. And that, it's been a long time since we've seen that.
I played when it was just Bobby Buckfield, Frank, and it'd be packed even then.
And I do know, just personally, just a fun fact, just personally for me, I know off the top of my head, personal friends of mine that live here in Pryor, there's 33 kids that I know personally that are playing baseball, just not here in Pryor. And so they go on to bigger and better, they go to Broken Arrow, they go play, and a lot of it, you know, and I said I coached youth competitive baseball for 10 years, is these last 2 years were the first time I actually had my own team playing out of Pryor because of the playing surface and the safety hazard of wearing ground balls, and that reputation is very real about those fields around the baseball and softball world, and it's a big thing. You know, teams talk when they go to tournaments, they make plans, teams chase each other to tournaments, and without a good reputation of a good facility, you can't continue to keep drawing teams in. And we did a really good job this year of flipping that script. And so now for us, and this off-season is a very big off-season for us, to try to do as much cosmetics and fix-ups as we can before we bring all of these teams back in next season again, so.
Chad, what would you estimate your volunteer man hours would be?
Well, so I can give you about 4 of my check stubs where I only worked about 20 hours a week on those tournament weeks. But if I had to say there's been 4 of us that have been up there pretty much every day. Man, I'd say from April, that second week of April to that last week of June, I guarantee you I spent 36 to 44 hours a week up there.
That's just you.
Yep. And then Zach,
You and Zach,
yep, Tyne and McKinney, so yeah.
mainly you and Zach,
Mhm.
or the 4 of you?
Well, so majority was probably 2 of us, and then there were days where we had 3 or 4, but 2 people can get those. But like I said, a lot of that, we probably could have cut that down in half on the man hours if we weren't fighting the dirt all the time.
So if you were to compare that to last year,
Mhm.
or if you were to compare that to 5 years ago, talking about just volunteer man hours, what does that look like?
Oh, I don't really wanna touch that question without saying anything, because I know, you know, what you do to a field, how you maintain a field, and it shows. And I do know that the field work that has been done, I bet you George Stump's group was the last group that did field work like we did, so I couldn't even
Probably
answer.
so, that's probably 10, 15
Yeah,
years.
and as far as the maintenance and the work, the actual physical work put in, I bet that was the last group that put in the kind of time that we did. Yes, yeah, and that's what we're building to, is,
Chad, I suggested if you, when the time comes and you need spraying or you need some work done on your ball field, get a hold of Dennis Bowman out at the golf
Yep.
course. And we've got some new equipment out there that can really help your,
yeah, and
help your
yes,
ball
and
field.
we've talked to Dan, we've been in communications, and his son is actually on our baseball board. And so this off season, he's gonna be bringing us a lot of, like his aerator, we're gonna aerate the
Right.
outfields. Yes,
Yeah.
and so we're gonna
Yeah,
be,
they can help you out quite a
yes,
little bit there.
and so, and one thing
And
too.
if you go into irrigation, he's probably our resident expert on irrigation too.
And that's probably who we'll use then, because we don't know how it's gonna work, but we know we've gotta get our whole field watered, especially, and it wasn't an issue at all until May. May's what got us. I mean, the rain, we got enough rain throughout April that when we went out to rake them, the dirt was soft and nice, and May hit and really got out, it got away from us, the dirt.
That's a
got
two-edged sword though.
Yes, and so now we're prepared to do a lot more mowing next year, if we can get our irrigation systems put in. And, cause we're wanting to put some, I about said the wrong thing. We're wanting to put some rye seed down out there, because our Bermuda didn't even start taking off until middle of May. And so our season was halfway over before we even started to see the real green plushy. So we wanna drop that rye down because we want thick, plushy, green looking grass through our season. And so that's where that irrigation comes in, is if we drop
Have Dennis come and look at your fields. He can probably
Okay.
tell you what you need too.
Yeah, and so I know he helped us the first round of spraying that we did for the fertilizer and the Roundup. Dennis was the one that helped us with that. And then Shoto Lime has actually given us a huge discount on all of our spraying equipment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've really helped us out this last season. And then dirt, so the last time we got dirt from Pryor Stone, they didn't charge us, we just paid the driver fee. And so there's help out there, and like I said, we've talked to several business owners, they're all for it. We'll get there, we just wanna get there quick. And for us, it would take us, if we try to do this on our own, I mean, it'd take 15, 20, 25 years, and that's if we upped our tournaments to, those 4 fields we have, if we played every weekend, and happen to fill up every weekend, which the odds of that are slim, it'd still take us 15, 20 years to get, to that nice
If you
facility.
had more fields, you could hold bigger tournaments.
Yes, well, and so another thing that you'll see on that back page is the tournaments too, pricings are different on these U-Trip tournaments, a lot more per entry fee. But like we talked about, is U-Trip USA to become a U-Trip sanctioned complex, they come and inspect your field. And right now, we wouldn't get through the first 30 minutes of an inspection for U-Trip, so that's kind of where we're pushing to.
So you
The
can't
big-
do any like tournaments where they get points?
No, we did one this year, but it was actually Broken Arrow that did it.
Oh.
So
Well,
I
then go
was
back,
just,
but we used to do where they could give you trip
yes,
points.
that's what we wanna do.
Okay, that's what we used to.
And so, but now they inspect because,
Oh.
yeah, it's,
Now,
and
we
it's
couldn't
not
get the-
even a huge deal on the inspection, it's just, you cannot have any openings on your fields in a U-Trip tournament. Right now with our fencing, they could find several areas where we've just kind of hid those openings.
That enclosed area the high school had over there for their batting cage and their
Yep.
pitching, do you have access to that?
So they actually gave that to soccer, so that indoor facility went to soccer.
Oh,
Yeah, we were brokenhearted. We thought we were maybe gonna get that. But no, but I'll tell you, it was nice this year seeing for the first time in probably 9 years, having a 14 and under baseball tournament in Pryor. And so the school really helped us there, by allowing us to use that high school field to generate some 14 and under tournaments. So that was really nice.
Good.
And so, and that's another thing is we believe in the next year or two, that'll become ours as far as operating it and maintaining it, and that's a whole nother
So they're,
man-hour.
the high school's getting clear out of that field.
Yeah, so
Collegiate
they,
field.
so, right now, their plan is junior high games, and then we can schedule around the junior high games. But in the next 2 or 3 years, they think maybe that they'll transition everything back to the new field anyway, and so, and that was a huge deal. We had a lot of positive feedback on those kids getting to play. That's a nice field, that, even being our old high school field, it's a very nice field for kids to play on at 14 years old, and they loved every minute of it. We actually paid people to run the scoreboard for it, so.
So one
It
thing
was
the
fun.
board might not know that's changed since he played is there was always that gap, because you'd get your son to about 10, 11 years old, and then they played Legion ball or just, they
Yeah.
didn't play anywhere. But now that the middle school, they have 6th, 7th, 8th grade teams, and so, you know, if we can groom them and provide the experiences early on, then there's where they're gonna transition into. They don't have to wait till high school ball.
Yep. And you know, and I've seen, I look both ways. Here in Pryor, we've had it's been kind of diluted. The rec ball versus competitive baseball. A lot of people around here frown upon the competitive side of baseball. And for me, I was a part of both growing up. And the older I got, I went more competitive. For me, you know, rec still, and me and Melinda talked about this, rec is still where you put your focus. These tournaments are what's helping us generate money. So in no way, shape, or form this year did our rec teams ever suffer or get a backseat behind any of this tournament or competitive baseball. And we want to make that clear, because that's been a slippery slope and a touchy subject for a lot of people in this area for a long time. And in no way, shape, our number one priority was always the rec teams and always our league teams first. We just have to generate money. Tournaments are the way to go. And after we had that first one, it was so easy to advertise. I spent probably 2 hours getting on websites, posting our tournament, and that was it. That's the advertising now. There's so many forums and websites and Facebooks that you just make one copy, post it everywhere, and teams just came from all over. And so that's why we continued to keep having them, is, you know, it was really pretty easy. It was long weekends, but it's easy money. It's just,
So, where did the rec teams practice? Because that was been
So-
a complaint in the past. You know, they don't have Roosevelt Field, they don't have Bobby Buck. I mean, there's no, where did they practice?
well, so that was a huge issue and has been.
Yeah,
And that's one of the reasons that we're wanting to figure out the floodplain situation to build those 3 new fields. 4 fields with 17 teams was a disaster and a nightmare to schedule. So we had to cut down and do hour time slots for practices, which you get a T-ball team out there in an hour time slot. It takes you 30 minutes to convince them to go out there to practice. And it was tough. And then we set them up down by the creek. Then we use the church league. Some teams practice on the church league fields, and just kind of wherever.
Practicing at Jefferson a little bit.
Yeah,
I
and
was
then
in-
I think one of our T-ball teams used over by the pool all season long. They were down there by the pool. And so there's been these known places to practice in Pryor, and I think everybody kind of uses them, but that's a big issue for us, is if we double our league, from the conversations we've had from Claremore teams that are pulling out of Claremore, planning on coming to Pryor next year, and from other Mays County teams, if we get to where we're anticipating on these signups and we double those 17 teams next year, we're in trouble with practice space. And so, and I don't know what we'll do, and that'll be tough, but we'll figure that out. And we'll use the church league like we did this year until they start to play church league games. And, you know, we'll just keep going in that. But yes, that's always an issue.
So the church league fields, those are separate from all each other?
So yeah, there's 3 entities out there. So you've got PYBO, Green Country Softball, and Pryor Church League.
And the church leagues, they take care of whatever they need,
Mhm.
they finance that all on their
Yes,
own?
yep.
Are the church fields get used much?
Just through church league, and that, which they are, those 2, so if you put it all together, those are the 2 worst shaped fields in that entire place. It's bad. I mean, it all needs to be just dozed down and start from scratch on those
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
And for us, then that's.
They
why-
have been for a long time.
Yes, and it's just, and for us, the reason that those two fields for us are so appealing, for us to help try to get fixed and upgraded, is those are perfect sizes on the fence distance for us to host either 10 and under, 12 and under, or 14, could all three age groups could play on those two fields. So that's huge for us when we talk about how many teams we can let play, who we gotta turn away, is if that becomes one complex, especially you get into the really nitpicking on what we're asking for on the turf, you know, you start having all those fields turf, you could play softball or baseball on every one of those fields in the entire,
Yeah.
that entire area. And so, like I said, I just threw all that on there. That's just the best case, perfect world situation. Somehow, all of us could come up with 1.6 and fix it all. But, you know, we just wanted you guys to kind of see all that. And so, I think if we could ever figure out how to do it, it's something that would benefit everybody involved, and it's a good way to get money back to the city of Pryor. You know, you start playing year-round throughout that complex, tournaments, fall season. So baseball and softball are set up to where you have a spring season, a summer season, and a fall season. And in Pryor, I don't think they've ever played past summer or fall. And so that's something we need to look into here as well.
Chad, you didn't say anything about lighting.
So, yeah, so the lighting, I don't know who actually put that lighting in. I don't know if that was the city or if that was donated. And so we don't know anything.
The lighting that's out there right now, we got a Jock Mayer grant.
Okay, yeah. And so, cause that's something, if we get to that floodplain situation, I don't know how much lighting would cost to add for 3 new fields. And so, and talking about this poles and the integrity of all that, it looked like softball and church league fields, everything was in pretty good shape on the light poles and all that. And us, we only have one pole out there that's leaning on the baseball side that probably in the next few years, probably need to get another one set. But they're in pretty good shape. I think we have a couple bulbs out, but Big Electric's gonna come help us get those.
And if they can get their 501(c), we can start trying to do some grants.
Yes,
We can't
yeah,
do
and that's
anything
what
for
we
grants
missed
on
out.
that.
So we missed out on the hotel motel tax because our 501(c) was.
And the Mayor Foundation.
Yep, and the hotel motel would have been one that we would have fell right along with. And so that's just money right there that we missed out on. And that's something too that we'll get into. But we have had, the last thing I'll say is we've had talks with, and these are very minimal talks before I move forward, with Cherokee Nation. And the little bit of talks we've had with Cherokee Nation, every time that we start talking with them, they wanna know what type of budget that we are allotted. Well, we're not allotted a budget, we never have been. And so one thing that we're talking and asking for is if we could figure out somehow to generate money that we could go to Cherokee Nation and Google to say, the city of Pryor gave us this, can you match it? That's one big thing for us, because that's what they've came to 3 times of talking. Those words have came out of their mouth, wanting to know about what type of budget we have, you know, matching budgets, this and that. And so, and Google is gonna be a big one. We're gonna hit Google hard with grants and letters, you know, as soon as we get our 501(c) under control. So, you know, like I said, we've got different options, different avenues to take. We just, you know, wanted to present it all to you and let you guys kind of see some numbers, see what we're thinking, see where we're trying to go to, and then.
Do you have a time frame when your 501(c)(3) is gonna be, you know, taken care of?
About 2 months.
About
We
2
think it'll
months.
be done in 2, yeah. And so he started that back in February. And so, yeah,
Takes a while.
well, it had been expired
People
for,
let it lapse.
yeah, for 7 years. So for 7 years, they've been advertising as a 501(c).
And it was not.
Yes, and so, which luckily we were able to just, they could have made a big deal about it and they didn't. And so we were lucky there, didn't have to start completely over.
Now, another question I have is on these spigots.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that MUB would do, or how does that work? Help me with that.
Well, so when we talk to MUB, they're not gonna run anything inside of our complex. So from the main inside is all up to us. and we'll just hire out. So we've got Polypro here in Pryor, can come and run those lines for us, for the spigots. But that's a whole separate issue of the sprinkler system. We have no idea. We're gonna talk to Mr. Bowman and see if he can get us in touch with that. But the water spigots are just something for us to, you know, be able to hook a water hose to when we show up and it's 100 degrees outside. We can drop some water, rake it, and keep watering as we're raking. And then the sprinkler system is more for the grass, to keep the grass in good shape.
And you mentioned Polypro, is that the type of, I mean, what company?
So we'll run, yeah, Polypro, it's outside next to the skating rink, so they do polyethylene pipe. So if we're gonna run our water lines inside the complex, we're gonna run it in poly. That way the risk of leaking or anything is non-existent unless they mess up the weld that they're doing, so I think you know a little bit about poly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tom Cravens,
Yes.
everything you
Yep.
learned from me.
Yeah. And so that's who we'll use for the spigots, and that's something that we'll do. We're just waiting for the rain to kind of stop this week, and we'll be starting projects as soon as next Monday, so.
How much of a working budget do you feel like you need from the city?
Well, so I know the biggest thing for us would be just the operating fee now. So we talk about the dirt work, and for 16 grand a year is what the dirt's gonna cost. It's what the umpire fees are gonna cost. It's what our concession stand, you know, even $15,000 a year, you know, to where that would relieve us of those upfront costs to where we can use money. Because for us, we're never gonna go below $20,000 mark in our account. We'll always leave that in our account for safety reasons and all that. But
So your 501c3 status is something that's important.
yeah, it's very important. That's what we can't even ask for donations right now without all of that. And so, really, just the yearly operating cost would be huge for us.
What is Claremore, what is their, do you know?
So at Claremore, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that the city of Claremore funded those fields years ago, and they just spent, that we found out from Jeff Warden, who's their league director over there. In the last 3 years, Claremore's dumped in almost $2 million to renovate their complex. And so, which they have a very nice complex over there. And that's, you know, if Claremore ever decided to get serious and fix their facility with the amount of fields they have a 16-field complex. But they're not serious about the tournament side of it. And so that's why this is a big thing here in Pryor, is as a city, we need to decide if, you know, baseball and softball is something we want to get our hands in, because we want to get our name on it and get our print in that before, you know, Claremore or before somebody else decides. Muskogee has a very nice complex that's been dormant for the last 11 years. And the only thing that happened there is Marie Gassaway. She left Muskogee and went to a complex in Tulsa, and that's all it took was her name alone, being the director of Muskogee. She leaves, Muskogee hasn't had a huge tournament since, and it's just such a wishy-washy. And I know it's crazy saying that. If you don't have a nice facility, it's gonna be tough to compete and get serious about making this a business-type investment. You can't go half feet in and just kind of fix everything. You know, like Bentley Sports and Bixby, you know, when they made the decision to build a complex, they did it right. And it was a very nice complex. Broken Arrow, same thing. They didn't halfway do it, and and Springdale. And those are the 3 complexes that I know right now, if we were to pull up online to see about entering a tournament this weekend, those 3 places would be full right now. Because they have the reputation, they have the nice field reputation, and so that's what it's gonna take. And so.
The Sky Tube also have one.
Yes. But right now, so we played at Skyatook this year. Right now, our playing surface is better than Skyatook's as far as our playing surface. Now, our bleachers and around it is not as nice, but our playing surface is better than Skyatook's playing surface. They just have newer bleachers and newer fencing than we do. We actually stole a lot of Pryor or Skiatook teams. So our Frank Air tournament, we had 11 teams from Skiatook playing in our Frank Air tournament the same weekend that their postseason league tournament was going on. They chose Pryor over their postseason league tournament. And so, I mean, I'm telling you, the work we did this year to fix the reputation has gone a long ways, and it has spread. And I think we need to keep heading full force in that
It looks
direction.
good out there, you guys. It looks good. They've worked hard.
Well, we thank you for all your efforts. I mean, you have, if we get on the map, it's gonna be because of efforts like you and Zach.
Well, and that's something too that we were a little undermanned this year, but we've already added 3 new ones. We really believe this offseason will be a lot easier than what we dealt with when we first. And I'll be honest too, at first, you know, when I got voted in as president, it was kind of pushed to 3 of us that were on the board last year. And I joined last year on the board because, as we know, there wasn't even gonna be a baseball league in Pryor. So that's when I joined last year. Zach was the same way. Zach joined when we received the message that there was no more board in Pryor. And Skylar DeCoster was also on the board as well last year. And the 3 of us kind of took it this year and ran with it. And I'm telling you, we've had our feedback through our citizens walking through the complex every night. We've heard nothing but positive feedbacks. And, you know, for us those are city fields. And, you know, I believe that, you know, that strife and disconnect that's happened, there's no better way to fix all the rumors and drama that's happened and circulated the last several years than to just team up and partner and move forward. And that's really, as a board, what we want, is we want to partner with the city, which, you know, that's kind of our direction. We can go other directions. That would be our best case scenario, is to just partner with the city, work on some projects and move in that direction. Because I know, we had talked before about the possibility of that complex.
I asked Chad, bring me the plan.
Yep.
Well, that's what he's doing. And,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys hearing us. Again, I'm sorry for being all over the place. I should have taken speech class when I was in school.
Well, you can see your passion, and that's.
Yes, and
I mean, you can see your passion.
I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
I
And
feel that, for sure.
it's not easy, but it is so easy to, you know, coming up with the money is the biggest problem. But at the same time, as a community, if we all tackled it together, finding money like that shouldn't be an issue as a community. For us, if we go at it on our own, talking to some of the business owners, you know, if we walked out of here today and the rumor in the next week or 2 started circulating around Pryor that, you know, the city has teamed up with the PYBO and is gonna also team up to help the softball. You guys wouldn't believe what type of circulation and what type of feedback that would start around our community, just from the conversations we've had with people in the ball field throughout the season. And so it'd be a huge opportunity and it'd be a huge win for everybody. And so that's kind of where we were tonight. We wanted to throw these numbers, put it in kind of your guys' court and let you guys think about it and see if you guys can
We'll see what we can do.
jump on board, yeah.
We'll see what
Yeah.
can happen.
And so-
Appreciate you bringing this to our attention and to the mayor's attention, and maybe we can get something going.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank
All
you
right.
very much. Have a good
Chad,
night.
I'd just like to leave you with, I know you're thinking bigger,
Yes, yeah.
but, I hope you guys have a sense of satisfaction that you got from keeping a program alive that's been there for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why, you know, that's one of the main reasons it was easy for us to fight through some of the hard days we had this year.
Well, I know that you're looking at this from a financial, and more of a business aspect, but from just looking at it from the standpoint of, you know, it used to be a goal we had out there was what good looked like was how many kids could we have participating
Yep.
in the program? And that's still going to be, I know, one of your goals.
Yep.
But what you guys did this year not only kept it alive, but by growing the number of kids, and that's something that I think we as a park board would look at is this something that the community wants? And the more kids that play,
Proves
that's
that.
definitely.
Yep, absolutely.
So we appreciate and applaud what you did. Know it's a lot of work. I've been out there.
Yeah,
And, but you guys, sounds like you salvaged it. And it was on a downward spiral.
yeah, we believe.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. We do believe that we, you know, being that 2 years, reading that Facebook message 2 years ago about no board, you know, we have completely squashed that. So we're heading in the right direction. And so, you know, for us next year, we wanted to do a fall ball, but we had so many projects. So we're hoping next year, you know, if we come back and give you guys these numbers, we're pretty confident that most of these numbers on signups, and we know for sure on the tournament side of it, will all double. So that's our goal, is we believe we should get to that 400 mark on signups for our league teams, so.
Okay,
you
thank you.
guys, yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Chad.
Appreciate it, Chad.
Thank you.
Item number 4 has been scratched. People, that wanted that on there are not gonna be here and said just take it off. So,
Just no action.
item number 6, report from the pool subcommittee.
Yes, well, the pool subcommittee has been meeting, and we're wanting to come up with a recommendation to present to the park board. And we're hoping that, by the July meeting, that we'll have some information for you. As of right now, we feel like there are 3 options regarding the pool. We can repair the pool, we can build a new pool, or we can do nothing and tear down the existing pool. Now, the way we're gonna arrive at our recommendation is we're going to, have a moderated discussion. We're gonna, invite members from the community that we think represent the community well, and we're gonna present them with facts so they can help make an informed decision and have input on what they would like to see happen. But we think rather than just a motion, they need to be presented with the facts.
Instead of rumor and innuendo.
Right, yeah. So anyway, hopefully we'll have something more by the end of July and how to move forward. We're
Okay,
working on it.
we're good.
So will people, like, you know, this form, will they be asked to come to the July meeting or not till August, or do you have that?
No, we're going to try to meet with them
We're
in
gonna meet
July before the meeting.
Meet with them,
The
okay.
pool subcommittee will meet with these, individuals
Okay.
Okay, so you have something for us
in July.
July meeting. Good, good, thank you.
We hope.
You're welcome. Well, we hope. Well, in the beginning, we'll have something. We'll have something. You know, it may be a process of going
Yeah.
through and, you know, but we've set times to meet. But just like us, the people, when we have this moderated discussion, they're gonna need time to go home and absorb all this information. And so we don't think it'll be a one and done meeting.
Yeah.
But at least we're gonna get the ball rolling and how we wanna look forward, you know, how we wanna move forward with this.
Good. Item number 7, park report. Mr. Powell, on your way up, Frank, I got a phone call from Robert Taylor last week. Robert wanted me to thank you and your group, the park board or cemetery board, and the mayor and the council for the nice job you did out there in taking care of the water problem from last year. He was very pleased with it this year. And he just wanted me to let you all know that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've spoke with him, and like I said, we did get some big rains right before, like usual, and.
And he said if you didn't like that, he'd come over and whip you.
Yeah. I won't fall in chat again. Like I said, I'll admit, you go out there, and if you have been there, they've done a lot out there. So, anyway, but yeah, back to the cemetery Memorial Day weekend. It did go through smoothly. If there were some complaints, I didn't get any. And so everything I got was compliments, so. There were some complaints the week before because of the roads. They waited till that week before to get paved, and they were out there till like 7 o'clock that Friday night, but it's done. I think there's a couple little cracks they're gonna come back and repair, but, so Fairview roads are repaved, and so everything went smooth on that. Thanks to American Legion and M&M Properties, toy got installed at Bobby Buck.
Looks
Looks
good.
good.
The extra little Swizzler, we still have it. There was one part missing, and so we've got it, and we just haven't been able to go over there. That was that single
Oh, yeah.
one we
Was
bought
the same.
separate. And the parking lot, you know, the rains hit, so the street had to back off. But actually, they're pouring. They built the one north. It's still not completely finished. Then where the parking lot is by the toy, we're going to redo it, dress it all up, and we're pouring a 20 by 24 pad tomorrow. And that's where, like I say, the handicap parking will be. We'll do it on concrete. Then we're going to dress up and straighten up the rest of the parking. And where the trail makes a curve back, we'll remove it to where it goes straight. But so still got a few things to do there, but with the weather, that part will be got put off a little bit. But, so we're working on that, and then like I said, the shelter, you know, still in the plans, but that'd be a fall project. So but I know when they were putting up the toy, they said they had quite a few people, you know, excited and ready to play on it. So it looks good. We had a demo security camera and put up in the park this past week. And so we're looking to see how it goes. It's tied in with the police department, so they can actually see. And so depending on how that works, we're budgeting of putting, you know, a couple more throughout the park this next budget. And so that just got done this past week. So, and then the bathrooms, world record longest build, I guess, but they're supposed to be complete at the end of this week. And so
Once the roof went on, I thought, oh,
the-
okay, we're gonna be.
the roof.
He worked on the hottest part of the year.
There's been a lot of they're using metal I've never. And then they had to have their own inspector. Then they were on vacation. It's just always something. But the way they're taught, their plan is to have it ready. I mean, the inside's done. The water, electric, you know, the fixtures are in. The inside's been painted. We have to paint the outside. But and then the painters, that was kind of funny. They're supposed to match the dark green. They painted the doors, you know, so they got to come back and repaint those. They couldn't. It's kind of more of a bright green. But so anyway, but yeah, they're supposed to be completed in this week, and then we'll do the dress up, and then I want to pour concrete from the front to the trail. You know, since they are ADA, it's kind of like the toy. But Bobby Buck, there's a ramp, handicap ramp, where we went from it to the trail with another little trail, you know, so there'll still be some things to do at the restrooms after they'll be open. We can do this while it's open, but there'll be a few things to do even after it's completed. And then the sign that I talked to you about for Centennial has been approved and ordered, and I gave them the PO today so they could pre-order some of the stuff. Other than that, staying busy.
All right.
Splash pads, all the stuff's working okay? It's
Yes,
going-
splash pads, yep, it's no issues there. We did, you know, that Memorial Day weekend, but they got it fixed. But yeah, no,
It's been packed.
yeah. I'm kind of surprised even today, cloudy and, you know, still people over there. But no, everything else is going good. I was coming here, I guess the big old tree limb fell, so what we'll be doing tomorrow. But other than that, yeah, just staying.
Just out of curiosity, do we ever shut those down during a storm or anything? Or is this just
The
everybody's,
splash pad,
yeah,
okay. When we first opened it, I did. I've been down there and pouring, raining, and lightning zinging, and shutting it off. I'll be honest, after a year or two, it got to the point, there's no one gonna be there, you know? If there's a lot of lightning, I'll go down there and shut it down. If it's just rain, no.
Yeah.
And even then, if you look at the radar and if it's a quick passing storm, you know, I'll admit, depending on what I'm doing or where I'm at, I may or may not. But
Well,
for the most part, yes, I'll go down there and shut it down if it's lightning.
and I don't know, the thing that made me think about that, we had a lightning strike. I thought it hit the house, but I came out of the recliner talking in tongues when that thing hit. I mean, it was,
Woke you up?
well, and I have a security camera, and I caught that lightning strike on security camera.
Yeah.
Going back to slow motion, and that thing, it lit up the neighborhood. And of course, and it came out of a pretty clear sky. I mean, like clear. I mean, there was no lightning or thunder or anything. But as I think about this, as I ask you about that, we don't make people leave the park. I mean, hopefully
It's
that
an open public.
it's an open
Yeah.
public place, and so I don't know that I'm trying to set any expectation that you run down there every time you think it might. But,
When it first opened, I did. I'd be down there, man, it's just funny. I had to unlock it, do all this
Yeah.
stuff, and lightning, and I'm like, man, what if I get zapped? It wasn't worth it. But we've had issues. We had to put a lightning arrestor, all the electrical panels behind the restrooms, because of the tall floodlight basketball.
Yeah.
It took us a while to figure this out, and that first year to the splash pad and the circuit board was getting zapped. We couldn't figure out why. Well, we finally, and I was always having floodlight issues, and so we finally kind of got together that maybe they were being struck, and then it was going through, so we put these lightning arresters on the panels, and then so a lot of that slowed way down. Had some little issues with the floodlights just today. They come out and helped me, but I got a couple bulbs out, but we had some issues a couple months ago, and it's like everything else. They're metal halide bulbs. Everybody's going LED. So I got a couple extra fixtures, so when MUB has to replace one, I'll take the other two, have them rebuilt. Well, it's getting to the point, the parts, ballasts and capacitors, all that, I might as well buy a whole new fixture. So I'm just holding off till the new budget, and I'm gonna put up 7 new LED fixtures. There's 4 on the basketball, 2 at the volleyball, and then 1 on that parking lot. And so, but yeah,
well, that's, I don't want to suggest that that's,
well, a few years ago too, emergency management, I think there's one at the golf course, but the city putting up some of those lightning detectors. And so I always thought there was gonna be one at the park, but in there, cause of the pool, but they didn't ever put one up, and like, I guess it would notify me on my phone if lightning struck within, you know, so many miles. And I think there's one at the golf course.
I think there is, I think that was funded by a grant.
I think they just had so many though, or something,
Yeah.
but no, I do try to watch the weather, you know, on the splash pad. I mean, I have been by in the rain and actually see people. But it only stays on, you know, for 4 minutes, and if they just, you know. I'm trying to think. Other than that, that's all I had on wrote down, unless y'all got anything else.
Waterfowl your deal?
Well, I mean, I'll talk about it.
That's the mayor's issue. The mayor's gonna take care of the waterfowl. Anything else for Frank? Thank you, Frank. Item number 8, discussion regarding the waterfowl issue at Whitaker Park.
So,
You get a bigger gun?
yeah,
Or more
yeah,
of them?
we upgraded from the pellet gun to the 22. No, the mayor had gotten with the Department of Agriculture, it's been a while back, and then from there, they called me, and then we set up and stuff, and, because in the past, in the winter, when all the Canadian geese are here, so they can still fly, that's why that was always the issue. You you know, until you get people to quit feeding them. And you had a lot more geese hanging around this year than normal, but they do that molting, they can't fly. So anyway, they came in, just last week? wasn't it?
It's 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, and they trapped 71 between geese and ducks. Yeah, as you drive through the park, it looks weird. I count 6, but there's more. But yeah, they trapped 71 of them.
Well, all the way down Kauai, almost to Jefferson, there's big families of them,
Yeah.
all up and down through there.
The guy, he came for a week, 10 days, and he would kind of feed them on the east side of the pond and get them used to coming. And so the day it happened, they called me, and so I started moving them to the pond, and then they showed up on the other side, started throwing the feed out, and they all went. And so you had your few scragglers or the ones that was way off that, you know, but yeah, 71 they got.
Where did they take them?
They just said they hauled them.
Butcher.
Better not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those, you didn't get the ones that are still 2 or 3 blocks away that haven't
Yeah,
come back yet.
because like I said, this was going on for 2 or 3 weeks, and we met, and I tried to tell him that they're getting farther and farther apart. And when we met, you know, the day at the pond, we didn't hardly see a duck. I said, well, I tell you, there's a bunch, but they're just, you know. And so he said he would drive around. I said, you go over here on the, what's the next block over, 4th Street?
Yeah.
And I said, that's probably where they're all at, you know, and you know, people think it's cute and they start feeding them. Then next thing you know, I'm getting calls every day, come and get these ducks, you know. And but it's been needed for a long time. You know, in a couple of years, we'll be calling them back, I'm sure. You know, it won't take them long to populate, but
The only time they'll do it is when they're molting.
yeah. And so
Really?
That's when they can catch it.
so if you get all the Canadian geese fine in winter, I still can't do anything about that, you know. But because people still got there and feed them,
Need to change hunting season.
yeah. But
So I had somebody contact me that lives east of the pond, and I think she talked to you. Did you have a citizen call you? Anyway, she was actually having health problems because there was so much waste on her porch. And like something from their waste, like she was having to use eye drops. I mean, she was having medical
well, parks
concerns
have
because,
been shut down. I think one over by Sky took quite a few years ago because of the E. coli and that's why the same agriculture people's told me, you know, for years I've been saying we need to clean the pond out. And so that's going to be an expensive project, but yeah, it's
Park-
even with the pond.
That park will need to be dredged about once every 10 years or so.
It's right before I started. It's been almost 30 years.
it's been a long time.
Did I say that?
I'd say we might be past due.
But man, I mean, it was, like I was on the west side of the pond, kind of, and yeah, it'll be a few people, oh man, you know, but for the most part, it was, like I said, it's not like we got rid of all of them, and you got one or
They're
two
fast.
floating around that's got 10 little ducklings, so it won't take long, but, it'll be for a while anyway.
Call the county agent would be a good idea, and ask them what would be appropriate about dredging the pond.
So other than that, though, we're,
All right, well, you took care of the problem. Thank you,
Yeah.
Frank. Item number 10 for unforeseeable business. Item number 11, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion made. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.